Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice, Simple Steps for Showing Up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. Today's going to be a good one. Today is one of those days I did not want to get into the studio and record. I did not want to sit down, get all the lights set up, get everything together so I can converse with you. Why is that? Why does the hesitation to do something you know you need to do and should do and is very helpful for both self and others, sometimes difficult to do? I've been pondering about this topic of difficulty, challenge, overcoming adversity for about a week. I was at a mastermind class last week for 2 days, and part of that mastermind class, and the main thing I took away was we must always be challenging ourselves. We must always move forward. We must always increase the level of difficulty in the things that we do. We are creatures of habit, humans. And that habit is we want to grow. We have the habit of growing. We innately want to do it. We want to excel. So Monday night, we were boating. And I went wake surfing for the first time. I've never done that. And I tried once to go without the rope, but I kind of needed the tow rope to get the hang of what I was doing. I was able to get up first try. All the tries, actually, was able to get up. And the coolest part of all of this was when I came in, my 5-year-old son said, "Dad, that's awesome. I want to try it." Now think about it. What would your response be? Your 5-year-old, who's never done anything of the sort, wants to go try and surf on the wake behind a surf boat. What do you do? Do you just say, "Oh, you're too young, next time"? Or do you give it a shot? What do you do? So we're on this boat, and the person we're with is a good friend, longtime friend, and he is a fantastic wake surfer. So we said, well, you can go on with him if he's willing to take you. And so he took him out. And my 5-year-old son was able to get out on the wake and surf and experience that. And I got to sit back and watch him overcome a challenge, overcome adversity and difficulty. He was scared. But then as he got comfortable, they went without the rope for quite a while. And how cool it was to experience and witness that phenomena. How cool it was to see myself in his image. How often am I pushing myself? So I went to this mastermind last week, and it was a flow mastermind, a flow and longevity specifically, with a renowned author. It was a great event. It was one of my great friends that put it on. He invited me to come, and I showed support. And what a grateful experience that was. I'm so grateful I was able to go, to participate, to learn, to be edified. But the biggest thing, as I said, was always increase your challenge level. So if you've listened back to previous recordings, you will hear how mountain biking has not been what I would have hoped it would have been this year, as it has been in previous years. I haven't felt like I've really scaled, even though I have. I haven't felt like my skill level has progressed. In fact, it feels like it's digressed for a variety of reasons. So I've been kind of pushing that level. I decided to go harder, do more, go faster, jump higher, try different things. And I received a call to go for a bike ride, and we went on a difficult trail. I tried harder things on the difficult trail. And then a couple days later, 4 days later or so, I was invited for another bike ride on a different trail. And we tackled some things we've never done before. And I went after and pushed harder and kept telling myself, challenge yourself, challenge yourself, challenge yourself. And so I did. And then we were out on the lake, on the wake boat, on the surf boat, I should say. I'm not familiar with my boat terms. And as we were out there, the winds picked up. It got pretty choppy. And I stated beforehand that I wanted to go wakeboarding. I wanted to get out on a wakeboard. It's been about 15 years since I was on a wakeboard last. I said, I want to get out on that. And the winds picked up, and he said, it's really choppy out there. You're pretty brave to get out there on that. I would definitely not do that. And I really hesitated. I said, maybe I don't want to get on the wakeboard. Maybe I don't want to go do that. I don't want to experience the difficulty of being out on choppy water. And then as we were getting ready to do things up, Michaela says, hey, did you want to go on the wakeboard? I was given yet another opportunity to hold true to what I said before or back out because the difficulty is too high. The challenge is too high. I'm incapable of doing it. So I said, let's do it. Let's wakeboard. Because what is going on in the back of my mind? The statement of challenge yourself is going on repeat in the back of my mind. So I strap up the board. We get the boat ready to do wakeboarding versus wake surfing. Empty the ballasts and such. And the winds, they stayed up. The choppiness wasn't beyond terrible. And so went out, having not gone on a wakeboard in 15 years, floated out. And then he screamed, here comes the tug. And then I scream, hit it. And I popped right up. How cool that was. How fun that was. And kind of getting my bearings straight. That same day, I had a really heavy leg day. And my back was sore. My body was sore. But I was settling into the wakeboard. And then the thought pondered, challenge yourself. So I started going back and forth in the wake, staying in the wake. And it's much smoother there, much safer there. And you've got to get past the wake wall if you want to go on the outside of that, which where I was pretty tumultuous with white water peaks. So I carved back and forth as hard as I could, carving back and forth with somewhat of a little of lack of control, kind of on purpose. I was pushing the boundaries. I was doing more than I really thought I could do. And then as I got comfortable with that, challenge yourself. Get outside of the wake. Go out into the choppy, tumultuous water. Get over the wake without falling, by the way. That's ideal. So I mustered up the courage and cut hard and shot over the wake, going way out, almost parallel to the boat, and being free out there. How cool that was. Was it choppy? Yeah. Were my legs getting beat up? Yeah. They were exhausted. And then I had to get back in the wake. I had to get past that. And so I went through and cleared some water a little bit, not intending to jump, but I did. And I landed. And it was so much fun. It was so fulfilling. And then again, so often, we as humans, we want to scale. We want to grow. And the only way you can grow is to challenge yourself. A couple days ago, I repotted our money tree. We were gifted a money tree when we moved into our home 2.5 years ago. It was from our realtor. He's a great friend. And this money tree we've cared for, and I don't quite have the best green thumb, but I've done my best, and I care for him. It's a he, by the way. His name's Dollar Bill, y'all. We named our plant. And we've known for a while, a couple of years, I guess 1.5 years or so, that he needed a new pot. He's outgrown his space. And what happens to plants when they outgrow their space? They start to die because their roots are getting root rot and they're getting pushed up against the plastic, and they've removed all the nutrition out of the soil that it's in. A plant that is in a pot that is too small starts to die. So I ordered a new pot, figured out how to do it because I've never transferred a plant before. Got the right pot, got the right soil, transferred it over. Challenge begins. Now he must spread his roots further, gathering more resource, more nutrient. as I fertilize the soil. I want you to think about yourself as this plant. Have you outgrown the space you're in? Are you at the ceiling, maxed out? Because if you are, the only thing that can happen is decrease, backslide, death, and decay. The only way to growth is to be repotted. Go somewhere else, do something new, find new challenges, find new resources. We are pushing the bounds of what we knew was possible. And I've said this before, and it bears repeating. When you're lifting weight that is heavier than you've ever done, you must put more energy into the bar than you've ever done or ever put into the bar. If you go to deadlift and you traditionally can deadlift 200 pounds, you only know how to put 200 pounds worth of energy into that bar and into the ground to lift the bar off the ground. And work is force times movement, right? So you have the movement from the ground to the stand and whatever that force entails. You only give as much force as required to move 200 pounds. You don't know anything above that if that's your max. Well, if you load 240 pounds on that bar, that is 40 pounds of new territory, 40 pounds of more energy than you've ever known how to put into something. So when you start, you do your routine, stand at the bar, do your stretch. I do a little butt wiggle. And you get down, you strap onto the bar. And when you go to pull, that bar does not move at first. Whenever you're going for a new lifetime record and a new record, that bar doesn't move at first. Most people, if they're novice or they've never done this before, they will try and pull it. The bar won't move, and they'll stand up and say, I can't do it. I can't move the bar. I don't have the strength to do it. I'm going to go back to what I know. However, those that know how this works, you strap in, you lock down, and you start pressing with everything you have. The bar doesn't move at first, but you keep pressing. And no sooner the bar starts to lift. It starts to slowly float and slowly start to move as you build momentum upward, understanding the amount of power needed to lift the weight off the ground. And then you stand it up. You lock it out, getting a new personal record. In your life, as you challenge yourself, the bar is not going to move when you first start to lift it if you're doing a new weight you've never done. It will take a second, but you must keep pouring energy into it. Challenge yourself. Move the needle in your life. I challenge you to have this thought in the back of your mind. Challenge yourself in all things. If you repeatedly do the same thing every day, you will find death and decay. You must challenge yourself. Well, that's what I want to share with you guys today. That's what's been on my mind. That's kind of what has been driving me to do the things I've been doing. And before I close, had a random thought that I wanted to share with you. Show empathy for people. Show love, compassion, charity. Be there for people. We were in a car wreck last night. Minor fender bender. But the girl that hit us, she was a 17-year-old girl. And she was terrified. She was shaking. She was hyperventilating. She just kept saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And my natural instinct was to go walk up to her and give her a big hug and say, it's okay. Just breathe. Welcome to life. And that was the exact words I told her. And she got a little kick out of it. But for whatever reason, I wasn't going to share that. But maybe somebody needs to hear that. Show empathy. I guarantee she thought I was going to storm up and yell at her. Because that's probably what I would have expected to come from somebody I just hit. But how about you do the higher road, the different thing? Show empathy and compassion. That was a little bit different of a side skirt that I wasn't planning on. But you know who you are that needed to hear it. Share this. episode with your friends and your family. It's the only way we grow. It's the only way this message gets out is if you share it. Leave me a review on Spotify or Apple or wherever else you listen to this. Find me on social media, Mr. Brad Draper. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk and see how we can help each other. But until next week, like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, love you guys. Bye.